reached black. Our first card is Archfiend of Spite.
Archfiend of Spite. Now, this one's pretty cool looking. It's a demon.
Mm-hmm.
It's got nice, like, ratty, bat wings going on.
Yep.
There's a cityscape in the background. What's going on there? The demon's escaping?
It's not clear. I mean, it looks like there's rubble falling off of his leg almost, like he just burst from the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So that would kind of go into his escaping.
Yep.
However, if you look at his abilities and Spite, that really doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
That's true. It has madness, so maybe it has something to do with the madness theme of you get rid of it and it comes back.
Mm-hmm.
And so the citizens of the town had gotten rid of it and now it's coming back.
Okay. So that kind of works in with Spite
Right.
in its name. However, its ability of whenever it takes damage, it deals that much damage to an opponent.
Right, unless they sack permanents, that
doesn't really tie in. It doesn't look like he's been taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, no, I mean, his wings are kind of beat up, but himself, like his body, looks fine.
Yeah.
So, I'm not really sure there. I do think that the art is pretty nice looking. Demons are usually pretty cool.
Yes. And he's kind of got nice horns on his head and
Yep.
a terrifying face.
And,
Yeah. As well as totally ripped abs.
Yes, he
so.
works out.
Yeah. And like you mentioned earlier, his wings are very nice with kind of the glow behind them illuminating, making part of his wings red, the other part's black. I do like that.
Yep. The only problem is no flavor text. So we have a good Archfiend. He's a demon. What's the city behind him? Why is he here? Is he escaping? We don't know, and the only thing we really have to go on with this is the name and the art.
Yes.
The rules text don't really help us much in this one.
No, they really don't.
Flying.
Duh. That makes sense. Yeah, the flying.
I hope so.
Although his wings, do we really think that can support a creature that big?
I don't know.
With
That
all those holes?
big. Yeah, I don't know. We can only see part of the wings. Maybe they're like huge.
That's fair. That'd be kind of odd shaped wings, but it's fair.
Yeah, whatever. It's a demon.
Now, as for flavor, what are you thinking in terms of scoring?
I think I'm gonna give it a 2.
Okay.
It's a little under the halfway point. There's no flavor text, and the rules don't help us, but there is a story here that you can fairly easily pull out of it.
Yes.
He's a demon. There's a city behind him. He looks kind of beat up. I think that's pretty good.
Spite?
Right, yeah. I enjoy that.
Okay.
But art-wise...
Art-wise, I do really like the rubble. That's something I hadn't mentioned earlier. I like the rubble as part of scale and...
falling off of him and everything.
So art, I kind of really like this art. I'm going to give it a solid 3.5.
3.5. All right.
It's not quite 4. 4 is kind of remarkable. 3 is mid-range, somewhere in between there.
Yep, 3.5, good score. So that brings Archfiend of Spite to a total of 5.5 out of 10.
Slightly above average for this set.
Slightly above average, yep. I think that's a pretty good score, though.
Okay, then.
The next card we have is Bone Miser.
Mizier?
Mizier?
I think that you're right. It's Miser.
All right.
So let's start with the art.
The art?
Kind of gloomy.
Yep, it's a black card. You can kind of expect it. The skulls look cool.
Yes, in his backpack, and all their eyes and the nose. I really love the skulls.
That's really cool.
However, why aren't the skulls on his pouch, on his hip pouch, glowing?
That's true. Those are just like the boring skulls.
Yeah.
What's he holding in his hand?
Honestly, it looks like a sea urchin.
It does kind of. Yep.
In a swamp, that doesn't make sense.
In a
swamp urchins?
Snowy swamp?
Is it snowy?
I don't know. Maybe?
It's really hard to tell. It's very foggy, and you can't see much detail in the background.
Yep.
The focus is definitely on this zombie.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of that white space in front of him.
It almost makes it look like there's only half a card, and the other half is just there because it has to be.
It's like one of the unset cards. Like, they just kind of cut it off. Yeah, there's nothing there. There's no graveyard. There's not even, like, a swamp background. It's just kind of a washed-out white-gray sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that half.
Yep.
As for the creature himself, I really do appreciate just all the details, the rags, knickknacks that he has on him.
Yeah, it looks cool. He looks like someone who's been meandering through the swamp and collecting things, which works. I like that.
Yeah, which that ties us into our flavor.
There's no flavor text.
But there is a lot of rules text, so
yeah,
that's excusable.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, whenever you discard something, you'll get some value. If you discard a creature, you get a 2/2 land, black, non-creature, draw a card.
Yep.
So discarding a creature to make a 2/2 zombie, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
because you're going through the swamp and you found a body and it's a zombie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Although, why then does he have all those skulls in his back?
Maybe those skulls are like zombie activation heads, and the other skulls are just regular skulls. And so he finds a body, pulls the old skull off, puts it in his pouch, pulls off a zombie head, and then clunks it on, and now it's a zombie.
Is that how zombies work?
Maybe in this world?
Okay, then.
I don't know. That would be interesting.
I have nothing to say to that,
heads?
really.
Okay. I don't know.
Okay, moving on. Discard a land card, get black. That's kind of hard to turn into flavor.
I mean, yeah, maybe they're letting a forest go, and then they can eventually get the black mana from it. I don't know. That one doesn't work that great.
It's really hard to tie in, though.
Yeah, and then especially with the last one, discard a non-creature, non-land card, draw a card. That doesn't... It's almost possible to tie into a real-world situation. Like, discard a spell that you're forming and get something else. You can't really tie that in, but the first ability works.
Yes.
I do like that.
Points for that.
Yep.
And now a zombie wizard. That makes sense. I mean, he makes zombies, he makes mana, he makes cards.
Yep.
Draw. The zombie, I mean, zombies aren't generally smart, but we have had some few examples.
Yeah, and so this is one of them. I think that's all right.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Now, it should be noted that this is clearly another spin on the card. I think it was Waste Not that did. It was an enchantment that did the exact same thing, but to your opponents. Whenever your opponents discards cards, you had these abilities.
Mm-hmm. So that works. Like, he's going through where that enchantment took place and is, furthering the expedition.
So that's honestly a lot more points because that is a really good tie-in.
Yep, I like that.
So what do you think in total for flavor points?
For the flavor, I'm only going to give it a 2 out of 5, I think. There's no flavor text, and the first ability is really the only one that works, but it does tie in with the zombie wizard and the art. I'll give it a 2.5 out of 5. I'll give it that halfway mark. But without flavor text and with the last 2 abilities only sort of working, then I think that's all the more that it can earn.
That's fair. Art. Now, what do you think of the art?
I really like this art. The art looks really cool. I don't like the washed out section. I do really like the rest of it, so I'm thinking maybe a 4.
Okay. Even with that washed out part?
Even with that washed out part, I think it helps bring the focus more to the zombie.
Okay.
And there's lots of detail on the zombie. There's things on his neck, the skulls, there's more skulls, there's an urchin or whatever.
Yeah.
You can see his eyes in the bandages and things like that.
That's fair.
I think it's really cool.
So that brings our grand total to 6.5?
Yep.
Honestly, if you have a 4 in anywhere, I'd hope for a little bit higher than 6. But that's fair.
Yeah.
That's a little bit higher than the average.
Curse of Fool's Wisdom. Now, this is a card that really seems like it needs a big chunk of flavor text. But guess what it doesn't have? Any flavor text.
Yeah.
Curse of Fool's Wisdom. That sounds cool.
Yes, it does.
He's looking in a book, and the book is reaching some tentacle out and absorbing his brain knowledge.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Real quick. Why is he a fool for reading the book?
I'm not sure. Is it a get-rich-quick book, and he's flipping through it, or like one of the dummies guides or something like that? I'm not sure. It looks like a pretty advanced spell book just based on the lettering on the front of it.
It does.
But we don't know what book it is, or what library he's in, or what plane he's on, or why he's there. There's room for flavor text.
There is.
There is room for flavor text. Even with them explaining madness on a card, there is room for a line. And that's all it would need. Something.
Yeah, just a little bit of something to pull it all together, explain why he's being attacked by these dark tendrils. But we got nothing.
There's nothing there.
honestly, the flavor doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
No.
Although its ability, whenever enchanted player draws a card, they lose 2 life, you gain 2 life.
I like that. That works. It's like hunting for knowledge, but the tendrils are hurting you.
Yeah, but then, so is the book gaining the life? Is the book somehow connected? Where does his life go? That doesn't quite make sense.
Maybe it's a dark spirit that just hunts through the library, and it doesn't matter what book it is, he's just in different books, because it's not like when they draw a creature card or something, they take the damage. It's when they draw. So maybe he's just hunting through different books.
Could be. I don't know. That's kind of sketchy, though. We don't have anything to even say it's a spirit. It's just dark
it's
tendrils.
Just the dark tendril. Just
I don't really like this flavor. Art, on the other hand,
I think the art is pretty nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of detail in the background with all the different books. I would maybe see a few names on the books.
Yeah,
but
just
that's
like
asking for a lot.
some lettering, something. It doesn't even have to be legible. Just something.
And now, as for the man himself, he looks to be quite old, so that's generally not what I think when I think of Fool. But anyways,
that's true. Maybe the tendril is sucking the youth out of him.
Oh, that could make sense.
But I wish you could see the transformation, like half of his face is young and half is
like
old.
His brown turning gray.
Yeah, something like that.
But as jumping back to the art, because that's what we should be on.
Yep.
There is quite a bit of agony on his face. That's much is very clear, so that is nice.
You can tell that. He's got messed up teeth.
And really big ears.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, jumping back to the book, there is room, I think you could say, just a little bit of what...
Mystery in a good way, it's just lack of information.
So as for flavor, I don't feel like there's really anything going on here.
Right.
I'm going to give it a 1, honestly. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, there's nothing there. They could have done something, which just makes the score even lower, because they could have done something, and there was lots of potential for this card, I feel like, for it to be something cool.
Yes.
And there's not.
It's just missing that one piece that ties it all together.
Yep. And for art, I think I'll only give it a 2, because there are things that they could have done. They could have lettered the book, or raised or lowered the book in front of him. The old man is just, whatever.
Old man.
Yeah, he's just a guy. The black tendril is just like so boring. It's just darkness. Yeah, I'm just a 2.
The story of this card is just give us a little bit more.
Just something, please.
Yeah. So overall, that brings us to what, 3?
A 3 out of 10.
Yeah, that's pretty
on
bad.
the lower end of things. Yeah, that's not very good. Still not a half. Stupid wall.
Oh, we'll never forget that wall.
Unfortunately.
Gift of Doom. Let's start with the art. Okay, so first thing I see is a hand coming down and just touching somebody on the neck, on the forehead.
Yep.
And then black lightning coming out of that. That's pretty cool.
I think it looks nice. Yep.
The person himself, there seems to be...
I think it's herself.
Yeah, that's fair. And I like the wind is just blowing their hair and their cape.
Yep, and it looks like the wind's kind of going out from them, like the hand is like going...
Which, that makes sense.
Right.
That's flavorful. The sky, that is amazing.
That is a really pretty sky.
It's stormy, but it's purple and darkness.
Yep.
I love that
It looks like the skull eyes in the Bone Miser a few cards ago.
Yes, it does. Flavor-wise, let's see.
No flavor text. Have to bring that up. No flavor text.
Okay. Enchanted creature has Death Touch and Indestructible.
I don't really see that here.
No?
This really looks like a destroy target creature.
No, well, I get the gift. I mean, it could be gift of whatever the giant hand is giving this person something, but Death Touch and Indestructible, I don't see that here.
Yeah, no, I don't see that. Maybe like +2/+2 or something like that, like a strength sort of gift.
Yes.
It sort of ties into the whole you can morph it up by sacking a creature because it's Gift of Doom. And so, you have to sacrifice something to get this gift. I just don't think the gift that you're getting really works with Doom.
Yeah. Although maybe tying into the sack creature, there seems to be some destruction around her.
Yeah.
They're almost like she's in a crater.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of works. She had to receive some destruction.
Right.
So that kind of works.
Yeah.
And then the rest of this card is just explaining how it works.
Yeah.
Because it's...
Yeah. There's really only a couple lines. It has Death Touch and Indestructible. You can morph it up and sack a creature.
Yeah.
That's what it does.
And the rest is trying to explain to make that work.
Yep.
Overall, flavor, not super great.
Yeah, it's not really good. The Doom doesn't really work with it.
Not quite 1. I'll give
yeah.
it 1.5.
Yeah.
It's not worth 2.
Yeah, no, it's not. Art-wise, I think it's pretty cool. I like the sky. I like the wind going out of it. The, like, black lightning coming from her forehead looks really cool. But it is a little bland.
Okay.
There's nothing going on with the hand. I wish there was something more. And the background behind her is a little bland, so I think I'll give it a 3 out of 5.
That's not terrible.
That's not horrible, but that brings its total score to 4.5, which is less than the 50% line, so that's not good.
Sorry, the sky doesn't quite pull it up. I really wish it could. I love that sky so much.
Yeah. Couric, son of Yawgmoth.
Is that how you pronounce it?
That's how I'm gonna pronounce it. We can ignore that and just work on son of Yawgmoth.
Okay.
Or son, or bro. Hey, bro, I think he would kill you if you called him bro.
I think so.
I think so.
Even if he didn't want to. I mean, look at all those
right.
spikes.
Yeah, like he might just be like, yes, bro hug. No! Maybe that's where the life comes from, because everyone knows Couric's ability. You can pay the Phyrexian mana on all of your black spells.
Yes.
Super cool. Where's the flavor text?
Yeah,
there's
not
room for it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, there's not a whole lot of rules text that is needed.
Yeah, you could easily shove that up. And legendary creatures normally have so much stuff. Like, they have to shrink the font size to be able to fit everything on there. And he's got normal sized font and room for flavor text.
Yes.
And he's a legendary creature. And they didn't do anything.
A really missed opportunity here.
Yep.
But ignoring that, what do you think of his flavor? I mean, Son of Yawgmoth, and he's got Phyrexian mana.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's a nice tie-in.
Yeah, I like that. That's makes sense. It works. I like that.
And then he gives all of your black spells Phyrexian mana instead of their normal mana cost.
Right. I think that works too, because it's like he's coming to, the battle or whatever plane this takes on, battle bond or whatever. And he's, the commander or there in your army, and he's influencing everything with his Phyrexian ways. I like that.
That makes sense. However, horror minion, wasn't Yawgmoth a human?
Yeah.
So,
and his son...
is he a biological son? I honestly don't know. I doubt it.
I doubt it. Yawgmoth, I just doubt having biological kids in general. Sorry, but...
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, a horror minion, maybe it's like a reverse Frankenstein kind of thing.
Okay.
Because, Dr. Frankenstein made the monster, and then the monster just hated him. But maybe this is Yawgmoth made a horror minion, but he loves him, and they're,
or
that's his son then.
Follows him.
Right, exactly. Or maybe he poured a lot of his life force into this creature, and so that's where the Phyrexian mana comes into play.
Yeah, that would make sense. That all seems to add up. Now, as for flavor and the art, there's not a whole lot going on.
There really isn't. He's just kind of...
standing there looking off into the distance at something. I mean, horror... Sure, he's got spikes. That's pretty scary.
Right. A minion, I don't see that.
He looks pretty imposing for a minion.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sure, there's upper level minions, but there's still some sense of minionness to them. He does have yellow on the spikes, so maybe that's minion blood.
Oh, yeah, that could be. As for the background, there's nothing going on.
Yeah, it's...
no world that we can see. Nobody that's following or that he's following.
Right. It's like a dark steampunk kind of background. It's dirty and filthy. There's the whatever whoosh of steam there. Yeah. It almost looks like he's in a factory.
Yeah, you can kind of see it. overall, I don't like the art as it relates to flavor. I feel like the rest of the card kind of works.
Right.
The art, not so much.
Yeah, I do like the design of his character. I
Mm-hmm.
think that looks cool with the spikes, and he looks imposing and everything. So that will factor into the art score, but then the kind of art flavor bonus points that are sort of given, it doesn't super work because he's a minion.
Yeah.
So...
Now, as for scores, let's start with the art. We didn't elaborate a lot on the art, but that's because there's nothing to elaborate on.
Yeah, it's just kind of there.
I don't really see a whole lot going on. There's nothing of interest. Honestly, there's no bright colors, no mingling.
Right.
I'm gonna give the art a 1.
Yeah, it's... I'm gonna throw in an extra half a point.
Okay.
Because I do like Son of Yawgmoth's design.
Okay, that's fair.
But it's not...
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
Come to 1.5.
1.5. Flavor-wise, I guess I'll give it a 2.
Okay.
I mean, there's the Phyrexian mana, there's Yawgmoth, but that's sort of it.
Okay.
And there's room for flavor text, and they didn't put it on, which is worse than no flavor text at all.
Agreed.
So that would bring Son of Yawgmoth to a total score of 3.5 out of 10. That is not good.
Yeah, not for this character. He's so famous. He's just so powerful. Got 3.5.
Yep. Maybe if they reprint him, they can bring in flavor, and that would retroactively boost this card. But right now, it just doesn't earn it. The next one, Mire in Misery.
Okay.
It's such a simple card.
Yeah. Let's start with the art before we get into the actual flavor. That is really terrifying. We see 2 people in some kind of tar with physical hands coming out
reaching
and grabbing
out
them.
and pulling them down. It is pretty scary.
Now, would they appear to be in some sort of castle or something?
You can see archways behind them, but you can't really see much else.
So we don't really need to know where we are, I guess.
That's true.
The tar is pretty interesting. Like I said, you can see actual hands. I do like that.
Yep, it looks kind of membraney. It's got holes and things in it, which is cool. Make tar interesting.
Yes. But it's a generic black with some red. But it can kind of pull it off. It can pull
the
off this
people
color.
are just like... They are so basic.
Yes. And I'm not looking for a noticeable character, but something more than... They're
Average Joe number 1 and Average Joe number 2 being sucked into a tar pit.
They're red shirts. They are
red shirts. Yes, they are.
As for the flavor, each opponent sacrifices a creature or an enchantment.
And the flavor text, Misery Loves Company.
It's a good tie-in with the name. I do appreciate that.
I like that. And each opponent has to sacrifice something, so that works. Misery, the company.
Yes.
There's the 2 people in the image getting sucked into a tar pit or whatever, being sacrificed. So that's, pretty cool, but all in all, it's just kind of...
Okay, but also, sacrifice an enchantment. I don't understand that.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
How is this tar supposed to destroy an enchantment?
And enchantments in the company, like Misery Loves Company, how does the enchantment do that?
Yeah, honestly, I think if you just level it at a creature, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
The enchantment, that's honestly, it's going to hurt it quite a bit on its flavor, because it just doesn't make sense.
Maybe because there's a citadel in the background, but you don't see the tar on that, and that almost makes more of an artifact sort of sense than an enchantment.
Yeah. Honestly, that enchantment's really going to hurt it.
Yep.
I'd say the flavor, I'd put it at probably a 4 before the enchantment, but since it brings in enchantments, it takes it down a full point to only 3.
Yeah, I'd agree. There's flavor text and that's good, but the enchantment just...
Doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
What do you think of the art, though?
I'm not a huge fan of the art.
Okay.
The whole card is just kind of bland. There's not much going on. It's just like a generic person being sucked into a pit. They made the tar interesting, so kudos to them.
Yes.
That's pretty hard to do.
It'll probably give me nightmares with the hands
That's
and
true.
everything.
Coming up out of it, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'll give it just a 2.5. It is just a bland card, in my opinion, so...
That brings our grand total to
5.5.
Hey, it's slightly above average.
It's slightly above average, yep.
Okay, let's move on. Nightmare Unmaking. Okay, wow, this art really draws me in. I don't care about the flavor yet.
Yeah.
We see people literally being disintegrated and knowing it. We see this guy right up front just looking at his hand.
Watching his hand as it got Thanos snapped away into dust.
Oh, wow. Okay, and then 3 different people, and I really like this art just because of how horrifying it is.
Yeah.
You can see the smoke going up. They're in some kind of wheat field. We'll get on that later.
Yeah.
Their armor, and then the sun versus the smoke, because there's sun coming in.
Yep.
But then the smoke is just also, it's very light versus darkish.
Yep. And I like that. I think that's a cool contrast that's being made there. Mm-hmm. There's no flavor text.
They had room. I think.
I think they could have put a line. It's pretty big lettering. Mm-hmm. But Nightmare Unmaking. Isn't this nightmare being made? It's being realized for these people that are being exiled.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very nightmare-ish unmaking, but it's a real unmaking. It's really happening.
Yeah, yep.
So as for what its rules text, exile each creature with power greater than cards in hand or less than. I don't really see that with this art. It just doesn't tie in.
Yeah.
It's just some 3 generic guys being disintegrated.
Right, which is kind of what happens in the rules text. It's kind of hard to show that they have
been exiled.
Right, well, that they have less power than a number of cards in your hand. It's really hard to show that. So I think we could take that these are small creatures and that you have a lot of cards in your hand and they're being disintegrated from the battlefield, which is pretty cool. I like how they look like soldiers and they're in a wheat field because you obviously are playing black.
Yes.
And your opponents are playing different colors. And so maybe this opponent was playing white and their soldiers are being disintegrated away from their planes.
That is very nice. I do like that. That's a very nice angle on it.
Yeah.
Speaking of angles, I do want to point out we are looking at a very tilted angle. If you notice the background.
Yep, we are. We're
almost like we are also
almost
one of the people,
45 degrees, yeah.
Like maybe we're one from the viewpoint of somebody else that's being disintegrated.
That's true. That's scary.
Just as a side note,
I like
that's
that.
Very, very nice details right there.
I will go with the flavor on this one, and I think I'll give it a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
It's good. I like the people being disintegrated as compared to them being exiled and the nightmare part that's happening to them and they are being unmade. I think that's all really cool and ties in. There's no flavor text and you can't really show that they are smaller than the number of cards in your hand, but still.
That's comparing 2 completely different things.
Yep.
Art, although I did say I love the art, it's not super outstanding. I just love a lot of different parts of it. I give it a 3. It's just a little bit above average.
Yep.
I do love little pieces of it, but
the people being disintegrated and the tilted angle and things like that.
The tear on this one guy's face.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to give it 3.5 now that I think about it.
All right, so that makes Nightmare Unmaking a 6.5 out of 10.
That's not bad.
That's pretty good. Better than average.
Thieving what?
Thieving amalgam. Thieving amalgam. All right, it's an ape snake.
Come again?
An ape snake. Obviously, don't you know what ape snakes are?
Oh, clearly I mean, sorry.
So,
how could I not see that?
I have many ways to go on just the ape snake part. So, it's an ape snake, but it's not Simic. Mm-hmm. It's an ape snake. There have been cat snakes. In green, there was a cat snake, and now we have an ape snake. So how many different things can you combine with a snake?
I think these are honestly the only 2. There's a lot of cat blurb. There's
That's
not a
true.
whole lot of snake blurb.
And there's definitely no ape blurb until now. And not in Simic.
Yeah, that's immediately points against it for not being in Simic.
Right.
Although it is in Sultai, just based on planes and a few other clues that we'll get about later,
Right.
which does include green, blue, but this card is mono black, so
Right.
That doesn't quite work.
It works in the context of the commander deck, but how often do you leave that together?
Yeah, that's a few points against it just for being in black. Moving on to the actual rules text, it talks about manifesting your opponent's cards during that person's upkeep.
Yeah.
That kind of goes into thieving. I'll be honest, I don't know
Right.
what an Amalgam is.
Yeah,
So-
I have no idea. It's an ape snake.
Is it though? Or is it
I have
something
no idea.
about how it steals? I really don't
I'm not
know.
sure. I really wish it was an ape snake wizard.
Yes.
Because-
something that would give us more indication of how it's doing it.
Right, because it's manifesting things.
Mm-hmm.
Point, I do like how you can see the morph in
Yes.
the art right behind it. That's really cool. I wish it was a wizard.
Mm-hmm. Something a little bit more.
Yeah, not just, like, if it's an ape snake, why isn't it just a dumb creature? Why does it have some sort of sentience with it?
Both of those, neither of those say, hey, I'm smart, I can steal stuff, I can...
Manifest cards.
My opponent's cards even, not
Right.
even my own.
Right.
Whenever a creature you control but don't own dies, its controller loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Why?
It's black, I guess, but in apes, I'm hung up on the ape snake and the rest of the card.
Mm-hmm. Flavor, I'm not a huge fan.
Neither am I. Okay, let's dissect the art a little bit more. So it's an ape snake. I can tell that.
Yes.
I could probably guess that it was an ape snake without the creature lying there because the head looks apey and the tail looks snaky.
Mm-hmm. Just as a side note, could they make it an ape naga?
I think that would have been better.
Yeah.
That would have brought in the sentience and the wizard along with it. I think that would have been better.
A lot.
Mm-hmm. I like the morph behind it.
Yes.
I think that looks cool. And I like how it's in a jungle. You can tell by the vines that the ape snake is hanging on, and in the background behind him is some sort of jungle temple thing going on, and you can see that. I'm not sure how he is stealing morphs from your opponent, how that really works.
It still doesn't make sense.
So, flavor-wise...
Honestly, it's pretty bad.
Yeah,
I just don't like it.
Big mishmash of a lot of things.
I honestly think just making a naga rather than ape would have helped.
Right.
But they didn't. I'd give it honestly a 1 in flavor.
Yep, and there's no flavor text either.
Although that doesn't really have room. This one's a lot of rules.
Yeah,
text.
so that forgives it more.
As for the art...
Hold on a second.
Okay.
I'd like to go back and revisit the flavor score. It's an ape snake. It's a 6/7. That is ginormous.
Yeah.
That is huge.
I mean...
I don't know if that
apes
actually...
can get pretty big.
Apes can be big, that's true. But it looks like a smaller monkey rather than an ape.
Especially snake as opposed to naga. Once again, nagas are
Right,
going to be
nagas
more
are bigger,
impressive.
so if you had an ape naga, bigger, sure. It's a snake, and it looks like a smaller monkey, and it's a 6/7.
That's one of the bigger creatures in Magic.
That is.
That's going to take a whole 7 squirrels to kill it.
And 1 squirrel would survive.
Yes.
Miraculously.
Do you think that changes any of the value?
I think that further solidifies the low score that I got.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
On the art side, I do like the art. I like the morph. I like that I can tell it's an ape snake. I like the jungle setting it is in. So, separate from all of the flavor, I think it should get maybe a 3.5.
Okay. That's pretty high, all things considered.
Right, but there's a nice background. You can tell what the weird creature is, and the morph is there.
Okay.
So, I do like the art on it.
That brings us to a grand total of 4.5. That's okay.
That's alright.
As much as we dislike the ape snake, that's pretty good.
Yep. But the art really saved it on this one.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. We hope you've enjoyed this.
And we'll catch you next time.
Okay. Well, anyways, moving on to the actual art in
Watermelon.
Looks like the son needs to go back to school. I don't know, you probably want to cut that. That's pretty bad.